Hello! I just had the excitement of Nash deciding he was going to jump over all of my stuff. So, welcome. Oh, you probably can't hear me. Hold on. All right, can you guys hear me now? Sorry. Nash was jumping my stuff and I forgot to plug my mic in. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Type it. But yeah. Let's see. We're going to do the thing. It is... You guys got to let me know if you can hear me. I think input this guy. All right, can you hear me now? Hopefully that works. Sounds good. Hopefully I didn't mess anything up. Nash was leaping over my things. I ran to let him back in, and then he was deciding that it was time to jump over all my stuff. Perfect. All right, if that changes and you can't hear me, let me know. There is a little delay between when I say stuff and when I see stuff in chat. So that works out okay. Today, I'm going to do the draws for the sticker packs for the people that entered the survey with one minor blip. Oh, there you go. I don't even know how that was possible because my mic wasn't plugged in, but that's creepy. My computer can hear me when I don't know it can. Yeah, so there was one little blip. The Medallion Club People's Choice surveys came in just fine, but the other surveys did not come with names or emails associated with them. So I can't do a draw for sticker packs for anybody who did the big one because I don't have names. And there's no way to distinguish who was who. So sorry. I'll figure out something else to do where we can do a giveaway to make up for that. But yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully it worked out. We'll make it work out. So yeah, I get to do that and tell you kind of what you should be expecting to see from the studio from these surveys, because it's very cool. I'll go over kind of what I saw, and we've got some other stuff to share too, which is kind of cool. There's a whole bunch of this little lady and her little kitty, sweet peas. I posted the picture of them before, but heading out to their homes this week. So if you are waiting on one and it's paid in full, you should be seeing it probably this week. And then I will be all caught up, which is super cool. Other than we've got some bombuses that are going out, and most of those should be out this week too. So after this week, I should be pretty well caught up, which is really cool. There is still the anniversary medallion that is just being finished up, and I should have that sent out maybe this week, if not next week. Though as long as the molding goes all good, I decided to be super ambitious and put bits of it that stick out. So that means it needs shims, and I've never done a shim like this before. So, because, you know, when is the time to try the crazy stuff? It's when you have deadlines, right? That's exactly how that works. But yeah, super, super fun. I had a crazy week of getting a whole bunch of stuff ready to go. I got a whole bunch of Betty Boops out this week. I went and found actually a really good deal on some packing materials on Marketplace, which was fun. So I booted over to the next town. It was like a half-hour drive. It's not too bad to pick them up. So that's kind of cool. It's nice to get a deal, especially in this economy when everything's so expensive. I did get to play with that airbrush. So I told you guys last week about the new upgraded titanium needle and nozzle set. It's a 0.45 for my Harder and Steenbeck. I'll grab it. My Harder and Steenbeck Infinity. So that has the titanium needle and nozzle, and titanium's a little bit more resilient. I do really like it. It sprays really nice. And if it's less breakable, I am here for it because, airbrushes. Anyway, so I'm playing with that. That was kind of my hyperfixation this week. I'll talk about that a little bit later. All different kinds of airbrushing techniques and things. So that's kind of fun. And I can't show you the thing that I was painting. I did. I want to show you guys this though. So this guy's been sitting in the background of the streams for a minute. He is a Stitch Tiki mug from the Disney, or no, Hot Topic. And he gets to hold all of my current tools because they rotate out depending on what I'm doing because I have zero chill. So it ends up being like little containers and cups and things full of different tools. I've got the little rack right here that holds everything, supposed to hold everything organized, and I never go back to reach for things back there. So I did get some cool containers from Dollarama though, and those are kind of nice for drying ponies in, keeping them a little bit safe, and I can stack them and display. They have the little guy at the top, which is good for micros actually, but it is a dark plastic, which I didn't realize in the store. So it's thinner. You could put medallions in there, I guess. It's meant to be like a little storage box for stuff. You could keep your brushes in it dust-free, which actually might be a smart idea if you have a little rack that'll hold it. I saw somebody using a IKEA terrarium to do that for their brushes. I think somewhere on one of the Model Horse pages. So you'd have it sitting here, and then the lid would open up, and you can have your brushes in there so that they don't get dust on them, especially for oil paint, because that sucks. And then the other one I can't pick up, but it is similar in idea, squarer and a little bit bigger, so it does fit the Ruffles venti in there. And then also that's a large Stablemate Mojo by Josine Vingerling, so kind of nice. And it has the same flip top kind of lid to it, which is always good. So we have Kimberly, hello, welcome. We have Lizzie, hello, Lizzie. Becky, hi. Andrea, hi, how's it going? So yeah, and I finally got my intro back, which took a long time. So Restream, for whatever reason, has been difficult to try and get things organized. And I put a pretty frame around things today, which is always nice. Trying to tweak things and make them a little bit better for you guys. I do have some other things planned for the stream stuff that I will be tweaking in the near future. So, all right. So before we go into this stuff, I did get one thing in the mail I was going to show you guys because it's too pretty not to show you. And I was geeking out a little bit. I supported the Brandon Sanderson Kickstarter for his extra secrety project that came with a whole bunch of goodies. A really, really cool sticker. So this is for the book Isles of Emberdark, which is part of the Cosmere. These guys have aviaries, which are bird kind of, I don't know if I would call them familiars, but they kind of are. So it's interesting. They're protectors. That's kind of cool. So there was a little mini book that was based on like a short story based on this particular part of the Cosmere. And if you like books, and especially like sci-fi fantasy, I don't even know if it would be epic fantasy. All of his books are really cool. This one I'm just starting to get into. It's not super within my wheelhouse. It's kind of piratey a little bit, which is interesting. And there's some ways that things are weaving into the Cosmere that are done in interesting ways. So it's very cool. It's very, like, if you like in-depth, complex books, then his stuff's really cool to get into because you can dive into it in so many different layers because all the books interweave pretty well. It's very cool. So this was the leather brown version that I backed about a year ago on his backer kit thing for another campaign, and quite enjoy it. I did his original secret projects back in COVID days, which was super cool because you got basically a box every month of Brandon Sanderson stuff. So this one is bound in black, and then the page edging's done in black. But the really cool thing is when you get into it, it's gorgeous and it has beautiful art in it. But as the story transitions, the story takes a dark turn and the pages actually turn black, which is super cool. So normally I would listen to the audiobook. After chemo, it kind of messed with my brain a little bit. So it's been very hard for me to read books in the physical form, where I used to be a super avid reader, and like just beautiful art. And this one, because it's just so tactilely and gorgeous, beautiful. Like this is all silver, basically. It's very, very cool. I have decided that I'm going to try and read it in physical form. So wish me luck. Hopefully my brain cooperates. I have the audiobook to back it up if I need it for keeping my brain sane. But so far I am 64 pages in, which is pretty good for my brain. So that is cool. And it did come with an epic bookmark because all of this stuff does. And they are indeed epic. So if you like epic style fantasy and fantasy lands and pirates and birds, and all of his Cosmere stuff usually has some sort of magical component to it, and then that deep interweaving of stories, I'd check Brandon Sanderson out if you haven't not already, because very cool. So I had to show you that because it's kind of neat. And I have like this little tiny selection of little leather bounds because there's something that little leather bounds do to my brain. And I would love to find some of my favorite books in hardback or leatherbound and just add them slowly. I did find it's a hardcover version of The Last Unicorn in with a different book and that he did. And I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head because my brain wasn't thinking about it until just now. And that's kind of cool. And the hardbacks do last a little bit better. They're a little bit more archival than your paperbacks, which are why paperbacks are so cheap. So there's also a bonus to that. And I keep seeing people rebind their hardcovers in leather and doing other things with them, which is also super cool. So maybe one day I will do that because that would be super fun. Becky, my luck with airbrushes is cursed. I've tried a master airbrush with compressor and a cordless airbrush I got at Amazon. Neither work. The Amazon works for 20 seconds and then dies. Yeah, the little guys are good for short bursts, but they don't like doing long form when they have a battery and the little compressor attached. My compressor is back there, and it's a little compressor on top of a big tank. And I also have a really big tank, and then we have a really, really big tank for air pressure casting. My brain is not keeping up today. I do have blueberry cream soda, but it is not caffeinated. But it is delicious. So bear with me as my brain struggles. Airbrushes themselves are very finicky to use for anything. The needles and the nozzles get bent and damaged really easily. They don't like chunks in paint. You have to be mindful of that. You have to make sure you thin the paint quite substantially. There's the whole down and back dual control, which not every airbrush out there has. You want them to have that dual function. The nice thing about the Harder and Steenbeck brushes is you can set a limiter on the back, and that limiter will, just by pushing the button and then pulling back, that limiter will stop your trigger from going it's upside down. Will stop your trigger from going all the way back. So if I was to set it, bam, can't set the thing. It's like, no, I don't want to cooperate now. Anyway, when you set the limiter on the back of it, it stops the trigger at a certain point, which means that there's only so much paint that come out. So if you're doing that, then it's a little bit easier to control because then you're managing your air, which is the down. And then when you pull back, you can't just go and spray all your paint out. Paint can dry on the tip, and that tip dry will cause other problems. Any sort of blockages there will cause bubbles in your cup. So they are little princesses that you have to be very mindful to maintain and clean, because if anything dries in there, then you have to pull it all apart, scrub it all out, clean it all. It sucks. So yeah, they're a thing. Iwata are a good brand to play with. The Posh ones. I really like the Harder and Steenbeck ones. They just have a lot of extra features that I quite enjoy. The triggers are a little bit more ergonomic and nice, and you can flip them depending on which hand you are, which is something that not a lot of airbrushes do. That little edge on the trigger function there makes a big difference. And then having the limiters and all the rest of it is also quite nice. And now titanium nozzles and needles. So definitely look up a whole bunch of tutorials on YouTube to see how people are using their airbrushes, because that is very important. The cleaning and the maintaining and the making sure there's no clumps in your paint. Even if you're using any sort of paint and you leave paint on the tip of this, that can dry a little bit. And then when you go to put paint and mix it up, then chunks can get in there. That'll clog it. You're going to have a bad day. So once you get that settled, they're not too bad to use, but they're a little bit of a pain in the butt. Andrea just got the ebook and the audiobook. I haven't started on them yet, but looking forward to dragons. Also, yes, there are dragons in this particular book, which is very exciting because the people that follow Brandon Sanderson's work have been excited to experience more dragons because they've been hinted at forever. And then we've seen little peaks here and there, but there hasn't actually been dragons until now. So that's also very cool. We have Annie. Hello, Annie. Kim, what's the name of the airbrush? So this one was the Cult of Paint version. Cult of Paint is a company. Infinity is the style of airbrush, and it is a Harder and Steenbeck. If I share, I'm going to go here and then swap this out for a different screen. And now it's being a dick. So Harder and Steenbeck is the name of the brand. These guys up here. And this is the titanium needle and nozzle set that they have here. This is their biggest, fanciest model, but you can actually get the Ultras, their base model. It's quite a nice airbrush. The settings on the back of it. Where's it going to say that? I don't know if you can see that there. It said blah, blah, blah. There are settings that are written on the barrel of it. So kind of like the limiter on the bigger models, but these ones are labeled. So it has, this is for your base coat. This is for your primer. And they're specifically set so that they can get the job done, which is quite beginner friendly. And then their Evolution's kind of the middle grade version. They have different ones that they've done with. So the Squidmar one would be kind of equivalent to the Cult of Paint. They did a tag team with an influencer, basically. So Cult of Paint is a company out of the UK that does a whole bunch of different hobby painting things. Squidmar is an individual artist. You can find his stuff on YouTube. It's also really pretty. Like, it's got all these different designs and stuff on it. And then again, you have the limiter on the back. You can change. They're not labeled on this particular version. Each has their own benefit, obviously, and then differences in pricing. So I think you went from $119 to $250, and then the CR Plus Infinity $280. So it's not a huge jump from your middle ground to your higher ground brushes. And all of these ones, I think, now run the titanium needle nozzle set, which is why they're maybe a little bit more than they used to be. So that's kind of neat, and they come pretty, which is also nice. So if you're interested in looking for airbrushes, I definitely wouldn't rule them out. They are quite a nice brand to work with, and you can replace all the different pieces individually. Like, I didn't have to upgrade the whole airbrush to get the titanium needle and nozzle. I just had to buy the titanium needle and nozzle kit, which comes with this top part, the needle, the nozzle, and then it's nice because this is exposed. On the beginner brush, it's not, because you don't want to wreck your tip, but this means if you have paint that dries on the tip, you can just pinch it off, which is super easy access compared to most brushes. And these run fairly comparable with the microns when you get the 0.15 needle nozzle tip. So kind of cool. So yeah, that's again spamming about airbrushes. I did want to show something cool that I found the other day. Let me just swap this guy out with screen sharing. This is Candace on YouTube, and I'm not going to play the audio. Of course, it's going to show me an ad first. But this is her speculations for and hopes for holiday horses. Definitely go watch the video. I'll do a quick scrub through so you can see some of the suggestions because they're very cool. It goes over some of the previous Halloween models, kind of speculations on how they usually work. There's a whole bunch of mock-ups, which I quite enjoy, for what might be popping up as models in the future and which molds, which is kind of neat. There was this little Seabiscuit is really cute. And this is a lot of personal preference too. There's things in there that she wants to potentially see in the future. I really like the Alborozo too. He's super cool. I also love the Beowulf. We've had some shrinkies of different models, so I would definitely go check this out. I really like the skullduggery on the little ornament guy. I think that would be really cool. And a Frankie. Also, a Frankensteed would be incredible. I don't know if they'd be able to do that in that scale, but that's super neat. And then some speculating on how this might work. They might run out of ponies. They might branch into these stuffies, which are super cool. And then this is probably really one of my favorites. This is super cool. Stitch on the saddlebred mold. So definitely check that video out. This is Candace on YouTube. Lots of cool speculatory things and super fun stuff to see there. So I would check her page out, like it, share it, subscribe to it if you want to see all the pretty things, because super fun. And always, I love the mock-ups because it's so hard to envision these things. And she does a really good job of like, this is what this might look like on that mold, which is super cool. Becky, I might have to invest in a better airbrush. I really want it for base layers for my marbles and medallions, but also for costumes. Yeah, I would try and, if you can get your hands on one locally, find somebody that has an airbrush that they'll let you play with. If you go to a model horse show, maybe ask around and see if somebody can maybe bring theirs with them. Or there might be somebody locally that teaches airbrush, maybe not in the model sense, but in other senses. Hobby shops are great for that. Any place that sells little Warhammer figurines, they might have somebody that would be willing to show you some stuff, because getting your hands on them, learning the different feels, some of them are really light, some of them are really heavy. These ones are fairly light. Some people like the bigger, more substantial ones. I think the Ultra is a little bit bigger and fatter, which is a little easier to hold. The newer version also, they did move this air piece up closer to here. So instead of being way back here, you have more control because you're sitting up at the front. So there's so many different factors. It's like 3D printing. It's all over the board. So if you can get your hands on it and play with it, that's probably better. And then somebody with experience and in person can show you, this is what this should feel like. This is how this should work. It shouldn't be clogging. It shouldn't be doing this. I've had so many issues of breaking nozzles and breaking needles and having air bubbles that it's been a very frustrating process for me. So I'm hoping that with new skill sets and particularly less breakable parts, that it'll help. So that's kind of fun. Sarah Jackson, hi, welcome. We have Laura Rocksmith, hello, welcome. To Marion, hi. So definitely I wanted you guys to see Candace's stuff because that's super cool. And it got me really excited because there's a lot of potentials there. I really liked, she did a eek on the Darwin mold that looked really cool. Skullduggery. There was a Frankie on the little fjord. See, I told you. You guys, this should be a game. But yeah, that's a thing. What else am I looking at? All right, people's choice. So I'll go over the main stuff. So this is the results from the main studio survey. Oh man, Go here. No. Now it's not behaving. Hold on. Let me just change this. Nope. Yep. Make it bigger. All right. I guess that'll work for now. There, now you can see me in the corner. Cool. So this is the results for the survey. This is the big survey. And as you can see at the top, unfortunately, for whatever reason, it glitched out and it did not collect names or emails for the main one. So I won't be able to do the sticker giveaway. I will do another giveaway, I guess, at some point and try and get you all in there so we can do sticker giveaways. But I do have the club names, so I'll be able to do that draw today. So for this is a quick peek at some of the stuff that people had suggested for non-club members. Well, and sub-club members voted in both, so it worked out. Most people seem to prefer the realistic. There was a little bit of votes for fantasy, and then something for more artistic was an option. So something like clay coming to life or a little bit more artsy and out of the box, which I think split the fantasy vote. So usually it's actually pretty close to 50-50. People seem to really like the in-between. So in the past, full bodies have been very popular, and now it's kind of something in the middle. Kind of depends on the medallion, I guess. Poses, feeling, romantic poses, and dynamic poses are right up there, which is totally up my wheelhouse. So it kind of makes sense that you guys would be voting for that stuff. No preference on horses with or without a buddy. A little bit more people were like, I don't really like the multiple horses. Backgrounds, just the horses or an artsy background. Breed types. Draft pulled ahead for the main survey for all categories. So you guys really want drafts and you seem to really want Spanish things. But it was different when it came to the Medallion Club stuff specifically. So club members had a little bit of a different flavor profile that they preferred, which was kind of fun. Most people didn't want tack, and that kind of makes sense. Tack's a little bit harder to paint. Sometimes it's nicer to just have the horse, but certain circumstances it's nice to have. Stickers, this is where it's kind of fun. So stickers ended up being way more popular for realistic for the main group, but fantasy for the club group. And then again, more romantic-y things, dynamic poses, a little bit of performance leaning here, which was kind of neat because we don't really have a lot of performance stickers. Single horse over multiple horses. Again, draft in Spanish pulled ahead, which is super cool. We had, again, draft, Spanish. And then for scale, this is the other one I wanted to show you guys. So it looks like a lot of people collect traditional, a lot of people collect venti. Stablemate was also quite popular, which we haven't seen a lot of in the model horse hobby. There's been a leaning towards micro or venti, so stablemate might be something to consider. I also had a few people specifically request classic size. So this is how you let us know what you would like to see, which is kind of cool. And then for busts was a big maybe. Some people are like, I don't know about busts. You got to show me what you're going to do with the bust before I know. So that's kind of neat. Lots of people wanted the traditional size busts. So that would mean that, like, my intent around originally doing busts, I had a series that I was working on that was going to be in traditional-ish scale that would make customizing heads. Now, that's a little tricky because with customizing, it can be hard to make sure that your head is of a size that will work in most cases because our scales are a little all over the place. So traditional-ish, but that gives you a good chance of it fitting on something. So that's kind of neat. And then I asked in every category what people wanted as their kind of dream, whatever it was for the category. So dream sticker, dream resin, dream medallion, dream bust. If you could have your wishes come true, what would you want? And I did print them all out and I have them all listed, and I will be reviewing them multiple times and seeing maybe whose wishes I can make come true, because that just makes me happy inside. And then other people are giving suggestions. There are some emails in there, so maybe I can go in and draw from that. And then I did ask you guys what else you collected, because you never know what might sneak into a box. So that was pretty cool and kind of insightful. I really appreciate all of you entering there. So since there were emails in the comments in the bottom that I didn't see, I will go through those individually and then do a draw for those people, and then I'll still do another giveaway at a later time, because what that'll allow me to do is reward the people that put their emails in the thing, because the system was being a dink, and then I'll still do another draw. So super fun. Let me swap out. This was the club one. So club one was kind of a split. Again, I think with the more artistic thing, I split the vote. So normally it'd be kind of 50-50, sometimes leaning a little bit one way or another. But I think because I split up and did that more artistic category, that people who like fantasy would be kind of in the more artistic one. View, again, something in between, but a pretty heavy leaning on full body. So the actual club members are kind of more 50-50 to in between or for a body, not so much just the heads. Poses, again, super into the feeling and the dynamic, which makes sense. It's me. I should have put hair on there, just a whole medallion in hair, like Cousin It, right? That would be perfect. No preference on having a buddy or not, was kind of in the middle, kind of depends, I guess. Background, no background, and then stylistic artsy backgrounds, again, still one. And then this is where it gets interesting, because you're breed type. What do you look at the splits on all these? There's a whole bunch of 7s. So Dragon Horse came up with about 7%, Hippocampus, Draft, Rare Breeds, Sport Horse, Unicorn, all 7%. So tied. And then what came out number 1? Pegasus and Other. I can't remember where Other went. It was in there and it was a high number. So Pegasus and Other were number like tied for 1, and then we had a whole bunch of 7s, and I don't know why it's not showing Other on there like it was earlier, but kind of crazy. And who doesn't love a good Pegasus? But you guys asked for realistic, so now I'm torn. What do I do now? So this is going to make this a little bit more exciting for the people's choice, because I'm not going to fully reveal what you guys are going to get, because the results of the survey were kind of all over the board, meaning I get to be a little bit creative and sneaky. So you'll have to wait and see. And I didn't want to fully reveal what it was going to be, but I'm going to give you kind of an idea of where we might be. NOTAC came out on top. Again, I printed out all the results for what people wanted as their dreams, and maybe you'll see something sneak in there. Stickers, fantasy went out for the club, which is super cool. I'm also kicking around the idea of maybe doing a sticker club theme, because rare unicorns particularly and mythical beasts from around the world has been stuck in my head forever. Breyer had asked me to do an article that popped up in their Just About Horses magazine. I don't even know how many years ago. It was a fair few amount of years ago. And I had to do unicorns from around the world as part of an article. And it's been in my brain ever since, all these different kinds that want to come out now. So I might have to do a unicorns around the world theme. So if that's something that you guys would be interested in seeing, which it kind of sounds like from the results that I'm seeing on here, let me know, because I wanted to kind of balance it out between fantasy and realistic, but there's also a part of my brain that's like unicorns right now. So if you want to see that, let me know. Stylized Pegasus would fit into 2 categories, which outrank the realistic. I know, I can get creative with the combinations, so you might see stuff. Katie, hello, wonderful people, she says, but hello, wonderful Katie, I say. A simple, realistic horse with detachable wings so folks can choose if it's a Pegasus or not. Would fit depending on the mood. Yes. Like, let's make the most complicated thing. Because that's how my brain works. Stick things on with magnets. That'd be fun. It was a fun survey. It was hard to pick one answer. Yeah, I know that makes it a little bit more challenging. So maybe next time I'll let people pick multiple things, and then that might be, it'll just throw everything into chaos. The universe will be in chaos. So, breed type, heavily dragon horse. There's a lot of people that are like, give me the dragon horses. And then alicorns, they want alicorns and pegasuses and Kyrians and long ears. Less so the drafters. Exotics also right up there. So these are interesting because the club results through things quite substantially. For stickers, you guys are wanting to see more full body than in between and no tack, but also like fun elements. So we will see. Dream stickers, resins. So for our club members, lots of people collect traditional, less so venti, then stablemate, then kind of classic and large stablemate, less so micro, little bits actually more so than micro. Some people want giant as long as it can fit into, oh, this was a custom answer. I like bigger, but my budget restrictions, my budget limits me to smaller, I'm assuming is what they said. All kinds. Price is kind of a factor. Large traditional. Breed type. Super draft. So again, for resins, you guys want drafters. Maybe I can do something like that in the future. Spanish, again. One Spanish draft. I would do Spanish draft things. Light breeds also came high up there. Pegasus, long ears, sport horses and warm bloods, which I realized I don't have a lot of in my lineup. So, and that's a super popular breed around here, considering we have lots of dressage events and we have Spruce Meadows. So that's the thing. This was a little bit more split. So dynamic poses, performance poses came up there. Lots of people wanted performance style resins, then feeling poses and side-on movement, performance friendly. Most people don't care, but about half of you do. Do you loathe bases? It depends, which is kind of neat. And then here it's split. Yes, I loathe them, says 3 people. No, I don't loathe them, says 9 people. And then swag. Most people want swag. Take it or leave it. Depends on what it is. So that's kind of take it or leave it a little bit. But most people prefer having swag in there. I got a couple of packages in the last little bit that showed up, and I don't know what it is about my brain, but it makes me sad if I just get a box with a thing in it. So I don't know if I would even be able to send stuff without swag of some sort or a note or something. There's something in my brain, and maybe it's just because Amazon's ruined me. I don't know if this is your experience too, but just getting a thing in the mail drives me mental. It like, I want a note or like a thing in there with it. Something that shows that it's a human sending it, maybe. Maybe that's where my brain's coming from, because everything is so detached and like, here's your thing in a box, that anyway, so that's the thing. Draft mule, that would totally, I see, these are the creative twists that I can do of mixing and matching things. And you never know. So there's a lot of really cool suggestions for things that people want as their dream. Again, for busts, kind of came out as a maybe, heavily on the traditional side. For scaling, lots of people want to draft busts and Spanish busts. See, I thought that there was a lot of draft things out there recently, but apparently we cannot get enough of the drafts. So I will put that on my drawing board if I do not already have something in the works. Other comments and suggestions, people saying that they wanted art supplies in their box, Canadian chocolates, more coffee crisp, love the golden tickets, Suda-based art, which is also very cool. Some suggestions for collaborations, keychains, mini food items that horses would eat, polymer clay apples. I have done pumpkins in the past for club members. I did like a little traditional-ish size pumpkin, which was kind of fun. What other things do people collect? Keychains, pins, dragons, fountain pens, more pins, My Little Pony, Charlie Bears, plushies, lots of pins, more Pokemon cards people want. Jurassic Park. There's a lot of dinosaurs in here, which made me secretly happy inside. Books, dinosaurs, stuffed animals, dragons, Loki things, dragons, pins. See, I think we're all secretly dragons because we like pins and we like dragons and dinosaurs, which are kind of like dragons. So same thing. Yeah, so that was kind of the quick rundown of what I got to see in the results for the survey stuff. And that will shift and influence what comes out of the studio going forward a little bit. So it's nice to have the ability to kind of do my own thing, but it's also nice to know what you guys want. And I want to incorporate that as much as I can. Same as like doing the voting for maybe colors you'll see, or maybe I will, part of my intent is with the club offering some options for, hey, I'm picking between kind of these things. What do you guys want to see? So being able to vote like that hopefully is fun for you guys, and it's interesting and fun for me. And the more cool juju we can get going on, the better it is for everybody. Chewbacca, I saw that as Chewbacca coffee at first, Katie. It's like the snow pony thing. It's like Chewbacca coffee, right? You got to do the thing. Now that you guys officially know I'm crazy, if you didn't already. Oh, did I snag anything from the second chance sale? I tried to get to the ties that bind us, and I was trying to grab a couple of models for a friend, and everything sold out before I could get it. So hopefully, if you wanted something, you got it before they sold out. I was camped out on their main page, and then by the time the email came through, I didn't realize that they'd loaded stuff into the Briar store, and I'd missed it all. So, yay. It's okay. I can't technically afford anything anyways, so it worked out. But if you have a spare to the ties that bind us, or the little Fjord stablemate from the Best of Breed set, let me know, because those are two that I would like at some point. Preferably the blue one, although it seems like the blue guy isn't very wedgy, woody colored. He's very dark, which is interesting. But if you have an extra, let me know. I will trade very generously for the ponies, because I has a sad. I did, like I mentioned before, get a mat of the Totalus in the specials, the surprise ponies that I might trade off or something. So if that works as a trade, let me know. But yeah, no ponies for me. Chewable coffee. They have in the gas stations in 7-Eleven here, they now have a coffee crisp flavored latte that you can pour out of the machine, which is kind of cool. So yeah, super fun. What else did I have on my roster? I did give the newsletter people a peek at some of the results too, so you can kind of get a glimpse of what might be coming. I've been working on a whole bunch of medallions for the club that will get me a little bit ahead of the curve, including anniversaries. You have to experiment and try the crazy stuff, or is it worth doing? And there's that part of my brain that like wants to run away into the artistic, like fantasy worlds. So the next medallion coming out might be a fantasy one for the, technically it's August, September, but by the time it ships in September, we're going into the spooky month. So I figured that fantasy was maybe a little bit more fun for something like that. And then we had a couple of realistic ones. So try and balance it a little bit to give, because as much as you guys sometimes say, you're like, I like the realistic, it seems to be the fantasy pieces that everybody goes goo goo gaga over. So I don't know. We got to throw them in there every once in a while. And my brain would just do unicorns till the ends of the earth and maybe other things. So, yeah. That is a peek into what is coming. Now, did I have any other sneaky sneakies? Sneaky sneakies for you. Let me look around and peek. I do have the medallions that I'm finishing up and models that will be posted for auction as they are finished being painted. And now that I have the airbrush, that will help finishing up a couple of projects around here. Hopefully, Hairmageddon in all of his glowy glory will get to be finished. If you guys haven't seen him up close in a while. He is called Hairmageddon for a reason. Because he is an Armageddon of hair. And then all those spots will also glow under black light. There's a little bit of a glow effect on them right now, but I want to amp it up, and the airbrush is the perfect tool for that. It's a little bit harder to do. You can kind of get it done in pigments, but the airbrush, because of the way it sprays, should work out pretty cool. So he's definitely a fantasy unicorn based on like an octopus / sea sluggy / sea creature kind of color. Also a little bit of vibes of space. I'm seeing Katie freak out about the latte in the comments. Annie has blue ties. That'd be nice. We can do deals, Annie. Because I was on the fence about the little 70th anniversary briar in the patterns. I really liked the idea. I didn't know which mold I wanted. And then they did the ties that bind us, and then somebody showed me a picture of his butt, and on his butt is a pretty big Fireheart head, and then there's like a little huck right there, and it makes the insides of me really happy. Because I've been seeing, like, there's all the, well, they just posted the huck in progress in clay, and it just brings up all the feels. Because Kathleen Moody, you can't beat having an artist out there that is not only super talented, but also one of the best human beings on the planet. So that always kind of resonates with me, that she's awesome and she does awesome art. So yeah, Ponies. Like, his hair is insane. Crazy. But he'd stumped me for the longest time because there was all this crazy hair which kind of sucks your eye in, and then the body didn't have enough going on to keep your eye moving in a balanced kind of way. So I think the busy pattern offsets the busy hair and allows your eye to travel a lot more evenly. So we finally figured out what his purpose is in life. But he's had lots of customization. I can't remember which resin he started out as, but one of the Sheila Bishop resins. And Annie loves him. Annie is his mama, so very, very fun. And everybody wants one of the alternative ponies. So I think a lot of people ordered ponies hoping for the rare ones. So I think everything will disperse once that settles out. Katie says I ended up getting 2 of the Just a Dreams. I forgot to grab them while I was in Lexington. Also a really cool mold to have because of the swappability of the pieces. We haven't seen a lot of them out there, which is kind of cool. So, yay! All right, I guess on that note, I will have the sticker peek for you guys fairly soon because that's always fun. And my hyperfixation has been collecting a crazy amount of raspberries off my stupid raspberry bushes that have decided to be crazy, and also the airbrush stuff. So learning some better techniques for when you're spraying, keeping the air down at all times, instead of I was doing the air and then the paint and then the air and then the paint and then the air and then the paint. That dries out your tip a lot more than just keeping your air on and then working on the functionality and the stability of keeping your air on, and so it's down and then pulling the trigger for back. Because once you're forward all the way, there's no paint coming out, but there is air. And then my brain does the sound thing. So I don't like when there's lots of big sounds. So even the whoosh of the airbrush. So now I just wear headphones. I can allow it to have the air whoosh out constantly. Brain. And then pull back on the trigger. So working on that sensitivity and training my brain to do that. Also thinning out the paints a lot thinner than I otherwise thought I should have. Because my brain says, if paint too thin, no color. So working on that. There's been a lot of really cool tutorials. Venture out if you're looking into the airbrush space. Venture out into the people that are not only painting models, but also other techniques like cars and art on paper and canvas, because that will teach you different things. It works out well for basically everything, venturing out into the different areas, because you never know when you'll find a hidden gem and be able to be like, ooh, this thing right here. And then once I get better with the airbrush, I can show you guys some of the stuff that I've learned, which should be super fun too. So, and I just love their little mini cups. Look at the little mini cup for the mini paint. Because really, 90% of the time, all you really need is just a little cup full of stuff. So, makes me happy. Happy little airbrushes. So that's been my hyperfixation while I've been working on cleaning orders for shipping for all the resins. I have been working on, so I clean these and I watch airbrushing videos. So whatever my hyperfixation is, I just obsessively watch that in the background while I'm working on things. So now you guys know why my brain doesn't work and why I'm crazy. Because my brain's like, it's like the Johnny 5, need more input. Just can't stop with the input. And dinosaurs. Also, the lizard meme. If you guys haven't seen that from the new movie Hoppers, apparently the end of the trailer or the end of the movie, post credits, has the lizard guy and he's hitting the phone being like, lizard, 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 hitting the lizard emoji forever. So my brain has been obsessed with that and all the song remixes, and that's pretty much what my brain does all day. Lizard, lizard, lizard. I actually sat there with the thing showing Blue all the memes, and at one point he was just like, I can't anymore. And he closed his eyes. He was like, my mother is crazy. No more lizards. And then Nash was like, I'm so over the lizard thing. But I thought the lizard would appreciate the lizard memes more than the average animal, which he did for a minute. And then he was like, yeah, I'm a lizard. I understand. We rule the world. I also understand. Go away with your stupid lizard thing. But my brain can't stop. So there's that. Raspberries do make awesome smoothies. Sarah says, I got an old timer and a YOLO. Awesome. Pam, he is awesome. Thank you. Brenda says, we have a few raspberry bushes scattered around the property. Obi and Luna found them and they're eating the raspberries off the bushes. Yeah, dogs will get into them if they want. Mine, not so much. Mine is like meat. He's starting to eat vegetables, but very begrudgingly they have to be flavored with some sort of something. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, we have a purple raspberry that I planted, and this is the first year of actually getting raspberries off of them, and then a red raspberry. The red raspberry's kind of more tangy and flavorful. The purple one is bigger, but less tangy and less flavorful. So that's kind of interesting. And then our grape has gone crazy and taken over the whole area behind the raspberry. I thought it was dead. It's not dead. The elderberry that I thought was dead is also not dead. So I'm going to put it in the dirt. And it was in a pot. And I got it when I was visiting Brenda. And it's very sad. So I'm going to plant it actually because it decided it was going to come back to life. Pretty much everything's doing reasonably well. Even the garlic that I planted super late is deciding to come up because I wanted a couple of different varieties of garlic, and I ended up, normally you plant it in the fall and it's hardneck variety and it comes up in the spring and then you harvest it by about July, about Briarfest time, because why not do all the things Briarfest time. And then this time I only planted it in May. And I planted garlic basically everywhere on the outside beds because Nash digs up anything that's in the back. So we can't have the garlic in the back like it was normally planted. So it went out in every bed out the front. So I have corn, dahlia, and garlic in the same bed. I have beans and calendula and garlic and onions in the front bed. And then on the side beds, I've got squash with a whole bunch of garlic. So we'll see how big it gets, because apparently if you don't let it overwinter, then your bulbs end up being a lot smaller. But if I'm just trying to carry over the genetics of the garlic varieties that I have so I didn't lose them all, should work out okay. So I'll probably have like 500 little small baby garlics like this. But last year I got a couple that were like good palm size. They're pretty chunky garlics. I've got music garlic. I've got red Russian garlic of two different technically varieties, one from the Hutterites and then one from like an actual garlic place. And then I have Spanish roja garlic. And then there was big boy garlic. And I need to get some elephant garlic because apparently those are super giant. So I haven't seen scapes come up yet, but we should get scapes, which are like the little hard stems with the little pointy flower bulb thing on the end of it. And you harvest those and you can eat those, make pesto out of them, which is delicious, or do all sorts of things. You can dehydrate them and make garlicky scape powder, which is really good. And he says Becca doesn't like watching parrot videos either. So funny because we think that they like these things, and they're like, no, I am the only one in the universe. So yeah, that's been kind of my adventure. I'll let you know how all that stuff works out. And then I have a couple of beans that actually worked this year. For whatever reason, I've planted tons of beans the last 2 years, and they haven't wanted to work. But I have nasturtium up the wazoo that's climbing everything. So raspberries and nasturtium everywhere, and grape leaves. So yeah, that's been my adventures. Thank you for participating in my adventures. I guess I gotta draw names. Hold on. I'm a poo head. I have a wheel here. So let me pick out names for sticker people, and I will reach out to you, and you'll get sticker packs for filling out the thing. And then I'll go back and do the emails for the other one. Let me swap out here. You guys have to remind me if I forget things. Get excited. Screen share, the wheel of the namies. So let's do 3 sticker packs. I will do, and they will be open to random ones. You never know what you get. First winner. Oh no, it was almost King. And then I'll figure out another giveaway to do. So we will take Kinga's name off there. And then spin again for number 2. Who is it going to be? Shelly! It was almost Laura. Because everybody loves stickers. And then one more. Lucky number 3. Somebody maybe in the chats? We will see. Fingers crossed, toes crossed. Stopped. Sorry. Perfect. Let's do one more just for good measure. Can't not. Da 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 da. Mallory. Okay. So, congratulations to the sticker pack winners. I do have stickers that I'm going to organize into random little sticker packs and offer up for club members, as well as some medallions. So those will be hopefully available in the near future now that I have some of the backlog cleaned. If you are looking to order stuff from the Briarfest sale, there's still stuff that's up on the website. If you wanted a pony and a kitty, and if you wanted a medallion, they're still available until they are sold out. They will be up on the website. I'm going to try and paint up a couple, and then so you can see the colors. I don't have the special access to these people that are painting in advance. So unfortunately, I have to do it myself. So then that lets you guys see colors on things. So it's kind of fun. And there'll be more giveaways coming in the hopefully near future. We just did the Juggernaut one, and I get all excited, and it's like addictive to give stuff away, but I have to be mindful. I can't give all the things away because I also need to pay for lighting and pay for internets and all the things for the studio so that I stay live and, can afford to do the art stuff. So yeah, I do appreciate everybody who's placed orders already and supports me with the club stuff and likes and shares and subscribes and all the rest of it. I always forget to do that. If you want to like the streams and share them, or like it on YouTube and subscribe, that always helps. So if you can't afford to do the art buy thing, that's okay. There's lots of ways to support all the artists that you love, and go do that for all the little ones too. So super fun. All right, I will see you guys. Hopefully, should be next Sunday. We are potentially racing next weekend, so I will let you guys know if that changes. But if not, I will see you same Raven time, same Raven channel. Does that work? Bat time sounds so much better. Same bat time. Pony time. Same pony channel. All right. I'll see you guys next time. I will contact the winners and get you your prize packs. And then I'll do the draw from the people who left the emails in the other one. But I don't want to put that up on the screen. For those people that entered the main one. And then you will see what you get for your People's Choice medallion. And then we'll go from there. All right. Love you guys.